As you know, I've recently been reviewing the actions online and in person of my web producer, Vincent Nicotra, things he's said and done without my permission and without my knowledge. I've come to the conclusion that I can't condone much of what he's said and done, and I can no longer work with him in any way going forward. He's not going to be involved in any further projects.
See, this is why you do not wait too long to edit a project like this, which I did stupidly. In this video, I will be giving you my thoughts and addressing a few things specifically related to Vincent Nicotra and Chris Hansen. Near the end of it, I am extremely critical of Chris Hansen for still keeping Vincent Nicotra on board. But 10 minutes ago, Chris posted on Twitter saying that he has officially fired Vincent. He says he will discuss it more in his live stream later, but I would be lying if I told you that I think this is the end of it. So at the very end of this video, I will be giving you my thoughts on that announcement that Chris just made, which you're about to watch was recorded the day that Chris Hansen went to Onision's house. Just so you know what my mindset was at that moment. Usually when I make a video on my main channel talking about more serious topic, it's pretty calculated. I know what I want to say, and I want to say it in a certain way. My second channel is a little different. I kind of give less of a fuck on here. But I wanted to make this video. I really wanted to. This isn't I wanted to make this video. Reason being, this whole Chris Hansen, Vincent Nicotra situation still boils my blood when I think about it. So the first thing I want to look at is a video that somebody directed to me where I guess Vincent was talking shit on a live stream. I think this is Deity's live stream where I guess he was hammered and he was saying a bunch of shit. But apparently he was saying things about me.
I got involved with Chris Hansen. Two things. A, get him on social media online. He was doing Twitter and Facebook seldomly, but he wasn't on YouTube. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? If I was in his position and I see these ass bags, and yes, I am calling them ass bags, taking his content and making money off it, Joey T-Cap, that guy, he's another one who I don't trust.
In addition to what he just said, I've mentioned this in my first video, but sure, you could consider some videos that were made in the community to be copyright infringement because they didn't meet the standards of fair use. However, a lot of videos did meet the standards of fair use. So I just want to point out Vincent is very much painting this out to be black and white as soon as we start at this timestamp.
All these other idiots, even Mista-GG, he was cool up to a point. And then he totally turned and, he made it spin off like I want to do a bad publicity stunt. I'm going to tell you what the publicity stunt was. And this asshole, and yeah, he is an asshole. He's a little shitbag too. And hopefully you guys could spread the word. Vincent Nicotra says that Mista-GG is a shitbag. He spinned it off on his T-Apocalypse account that I was trying to manufacture a copyright, claim on him. Basically, the conversation was that everybody was getting struck, and who struck Chris. But there was word around the campfire, like, well, why is Mista-GG not being struck? They must be good friends, and you're starting to get heat. So I told Gigi, I'm like, listen, man, just tell people you got struck. Get them off your back. That'd be funny. And I was like, you know what? That'll cause an uproar. But now Gigi got struck. So I said that. I'm like, just say you got struck. Stop these people from coming after you or asking you these questions, which you have no time for. I'm like, what do you want from me?
And this guy's saying, what do you want from me?
His defense, he's saying it's not a publicity stunt, what he told me to do. He said instead, yeah, all these people are on your back saying, why aren't you getting striked? Are you friends? Are you buddy with these guys? What's going on? So, just tell them you got striked. So they leave you alone. That'll shut the community up. If I tell them I got a strike too, I'm gonna say that one more time out loud, just so we can all digest it. Instead of dealing with like the 6 DMs I got saying, hey, have you been striked at all? Because the TCAP community got lit up. Let's deal with the 100 DMs saying, bro, you got a copyright strike from fucking Chris Hansen? Or what the fuck is going on? How does that make sense in your head? That's amazing that is his defense. I was thinking about a publicity stunt. Are you interested? I said, what are you thinking? He said, can I call you? That would have been funny, but I said, I'm pretty busy right now editing the video on you. If you can text it, I can try to keep the replies prompt. This is between you and I and haven't even approached Chris with it yet. That might be true, and it's also possible that it was a preemptive defense for something like this. Tell the community you got striked. I don't know if Chris would be on board with it, but it sure give a popularity boost. And I said, I don't get the goal behind it. I've been reading the comments and people are saying that you are immune to getting striked. With you, it would draw an obscene amount of attention. But then people are gonna hate Chris because he struck me. ellipses question mark. No, people are gonna know about Chris Hansen's channel. Remember, he struck the underground community, as Chris puts it. However, you are not underground. You are up and coming, and let's face it, you are famous. Thank you, Vince. That's really nice of you. I don't believe in bad publicity. Let's make that bigger on the screen. I don't believe in bad publicity. Keep that in mind for all the events that have been happening as of late. If I make a video complaining that Chris struck my channel, the community will revolt against your channel, especially after you've just deleted 80% of the community. Do it. I will take the heat. Once again, keep all this in mind with everything that is happening. Why do you think it's worth it? Get people to subscribe to you for support and get Chris exposure and back in the spotlight. The Slayer slaying anyone who tries to claim his work. Keep all this in mind right now, guys. I'm not sure. I work for Chris, but I'm glued to this. Can you imagine the rest of even the ones who are unaware is gonna know now? I definitely know if he struck your channel, which he is not. It would definitely bring this out to the mainstream world. The mainstream world. Look at Matt Damon and Jimmy Kimmel. For years, people thought a feud was going on, but turned out to be a running joke. Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman, same thing. A publicity stunt goes a long way, my friend. The world loves drama. If we fabricate a drama, trust me, it's gonna take off. Yeah, but it's gonna make Chris look bad. That's not good for your brand. I get that. Don't want to damage his brand. Just looking for a boost at this point. Chris gained almost 1,000 additional subscribers since the shitstorm happened. 2,000. It's not gonna hurt his brand. I don't know, man. Not seeing the results in that. Vince doesn't fucking care. You ask me to lie to my audience, to lie to your audience, to get them all riled up because you don't believe in bad publicity. There's no other way to twist that, Vince. You lied. You wanted me to lie, and now you're lying about I'm an ass bag. I turned apparently because I just told the truth.
Onision, your days of grooming young women.
Look at this smug son of a bitch. He knows what he's doing.
Chris Hansen went to Onision's house, right? And there's a lot of attention on that right now. A lot of people retweeting the tweets, watching the video. It's surreal. Chris Hansen went to Onision's house? What, bro? Did you hear that? Did you forget about Vince? Now, I'm not saying Chris needed to throw a Hail Mary to get the heat off Vincent, but I'm sure it's gonna fucking help, because that's what everyone's talking about now. I don't know, it's almost like the guy who wants to conjure up all these publicity stunts would offer a suggestion like this. I don't know. Also, in addition, I was pointed out an Instagram comment where a fella basically was telling Chris, hey, you know, your new lawyer that you're building up, Michael Morris, he's got this whole case shit going on of like sexual harassment or something along those lines. I'm not positive on the details, but not exactly the best look when you're trying to catch child predators. But whatever, to each his own. And he also brought up Vince and was like, you know, these guys should probably go. And the official Chris Hansen Instagram replied, long settled and looked into, which long settled referring to the lawyer, looked into, meaning the tweet where he was gonna look into Vince's actions. That's done already. I looked into Vince thoroughly. I examined all of his actions, and you know what? He checks out. I see nothing wrong here. So if Chris is basically saying this has already been looked into, we are left with two conclusions. The first conclusion, Chris is fucking stupid. Excuse my language, it doesn't even sound right to say because of what Chris has done in his past. To Catch a Predator, Chris Hansen will always be an icon. Chris has never outright directly been rude to me in any kind of way. But if you think I'm gonna sit here and look at this entire situation point by point by point and think that Chris did not dip his hand in the cookie jar once, you're crazy. So like I said, we are left with two conclusions. The first one, Chris is stupid, and he literally does not see what is wrong with Vince. He is incapable of comprehending that Vince has abused the copyright system, doxed people, threatened people, already tarnished a portion of his reputation, if not all of it. And the second conclusion is that Chris knows exactly what's going on. But these Onision videos are just doing too well. Chris Hansen's not on NBC, but he's back in the spotlight, and that's a YouTube Spotlight, baby. And if there's a spotlight you want to be in today, that is YouTube Spotlight. Like I said in my main channel video, Chris is either complicit or just allowing this shit to happen. And everyone for the most part is fine with me shitting on Vince, but people don't like when I point the finger at Chris because he is the person who is irreplaceable in this Onision situation. If you bounce Vince, now you just got rid of the doofus who eats popcorn while victims are telling their stories. But if you bounce Chris, now you kind of lost all this traction. And listen, you could think what you want. I'm not just gonna blindly support the lesser of two evils. Onision is scum, but Chris Hansen has his own skeletons. Frankly, I just see a lot of red flags. I see two gentlemen who had one thing in mind, and that was not prioritizing the victims of predatory behavior. But only time will tell. It's been a shitstorm so far, so no telling what we have in store. Well, look at that. Here we are. If what Chris says is true, the firing of Vincent is only good news. I think Vincent was a loose cannon. I will admit I am still a bit skeptical because I have no reason to trust either of these people at this point. It's just my question is, why did it take this long? Had Chris kicked Vincent to the curb on his first fuck up or second fuck up or even third fuck up, I would be much more content hearing this news. Chris Hansen's moderation team put out a letter saying that Chris was worried that he wouldn't be able to replace Vincent, but I think that's horseshit because Vince isn't even good at his job. You could fucking get anybody to take his spot. You're live streaming once a week. It's not like you couldn't take, you know, a few days off to go through applicants or something like that, or even just take a week off. If Chris pulled the plug, I think it's because of this laptop news that came out where one of the victims were directly lied to, that her laptop was being sent to the FBI when it was just actually sitting in fucking Vince or Chris's office, I forget which one. I think that specific event was really putting their ass to the fire on this perhaps phony FBI investigation. Had that continued going on, I think the story would have blown up and Chris would be dragged through the dirt. I don't think Chris is lying that he fired him, by the way, because if the moderation team put out a letter in that way, I think it'd be hard for them to not sniff out that Vince is still a part of all this, and Vince can't fucking help himself, so he'd out himself anyway. So like I said, this is being recorded before Chris's live stream. These are just my initial thoughts. You know, I still kind of stand by that if I look at every single event, and I fail to believe that Chris had zero part in anything. How disconnected were you from all of this? When the first incident happened in August, you were addressing it on the live stream, and then I came out with my video, and then you guys didn't say shit about it. I don't think that's coincidental. I'm assuming you watched the video, Chris. You saw what Vince did if you didn't know he did it to begin with, but you still kept him on board. And even if Vince is controlling your social media, and you still have no way to see everyone adding you or messaging you saying, yo, this is fucked up, this is fucked up, this is fucked up. I'm sure you've seen it in the live stream. There's no possible way this information never rounded out, you know, back to you. Even when I came out with the follow-up video, that comment looked into, even if Vince wrote that, there's no way you don't know what's happening. If that laptop story never comes out, Vince is still on this live stream tonight. And that's the shitty part, that I had to get to this point where it's like, okay, now we're getting, you know, in possible legal trouble. We're looking real bad. The investigation's being fucking crash and burning. It took all that shit to get you to fire him? It just doesn't add up. I'm not super happy to hear this news. I'm glad Vince fucked off, and if I'm wrong about all this and Chris really does have good intentions, or maybe he was just making a few mistakes or not paying attention to the whole investigation and everything that was happening and his right-hand man and everything that was happening in front of his eyes, then I'm wrong. And I hope something actually comes from all of this. I hope justice is served. I hope the internet can rejoice in taking Onision down. Honestly, I still stand by what I said in the earlier clips. And those are my thoughts. I'm sure this is not the end of it. Since I made my video, I've been pretty much in the loop, hearing everything that's been going on here, behind the scenes, accusations, allegations, and it's exhausting. To those of you behind the scenes who are trying to make sure that justice is served, to make sure that these victims are protected, while this shitstorm is just raining down upon all of you, I salute you. I'm gonna just try and focus on my regular content from here on out. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah.